Hey, bestie.
Hey, guys, you got two bestie homeschooling mamas coming at you today. And we are so excited to talk about balancing time with volunteering, working, and homeschool. You got me here with you and
Christina.
That's right. And we are going to talk about how there is never enough time in the day, right? We all have the same 24 hours in the day, but there's never enough time. There's never enough time to volunteer, to do all of the mommy work, all of the regular work, all of the homeschool, all of the things. So we're going to get into it today. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, guys. Can you relate to that? There's never enough time in the day. I certainly can. Gail, do you want to share with us, start us off by sharing what you do with your day?
Well, you know, I do the mom thing. I do the wife thing. I do the, sorry, little song there for you. I wake up and I do, breakfast, make my husband's lunch, do all of those things. But outside of like the momming and the homeschooling and that kind of thing, I take Corey to therapy 4 hours a week. Mm-hmm. When he's in soccer, we do soccer twice a week. That's not all the time though. And we definitely don't overdo sports. We are not that family. We never have been, not even with our first child. We were never the overdue sports family. And then we do volunteering at church. I volunteer 2 hours where I hold babies at church on Sunday. So that's super fun. And now I'm on time.
Okay, so Gail and I volunteered together at church holding babies.
Yes, we do. And we've volunteered for 6 years together. Christina has been doing it since forever and a day, like literally forever and a day. But I started volunteering for like 6 years ago. But I thought I had to be there at 9:45 every day, every Sunday. And I had to be there at 9:30. So I've been late for 6 years and no one told me. So habitual lateness. And I'm like, guys, share with a girl. Come on now. They were just happy that I was there. But still. So I was on time this past Sunday. It was the first time in 6 years. Anyhow.
Love it. Love it.
I'm a habitually late person anyways because I struggle with on-timeness, which goes along with this. Mm-hmm. But it's my ADHD brain and I just struggle to follow time correctly. We do the homeschool, we do the therapy, we do sports when that's happening, we do volunteering, and of course, I'm an entrepreneur. So I've had several different businesses, over the course of the 4 or 5 years that I've now been home, when I haven't been working outside of the house. And I was working outside of the house for the first 15 years of my marriage. And so that was a lot, when I was working outside of the house, that was even worse. And then doing the podcast, having to make sure we have time for this and editing. And, I don't know if you guys know, but Christina and I do all of this ourselves. Like, we don't have anyone else controlling our podcast. It's me and her. Like, we're the only entities taking care of all of this. So, it's just her and I. So we take care of the timing, the scheduling, the editing, the posting, all of it. So, it can be time consuming and we make sure we have time for all of it because it's a lot of fun.
It is fun. Yes. Okay. So I actually have a very similar-ish schedule to Gail. We do all the wife things, all the mom things, all the homeschooling things. And then in our house, we have 5 kids that are involved in random different sports or things. We don't overdo the sports either, but they do have,
but you have 5
things.
of them.
There's 5 of them, right? So a couple of them play soccer and a couple of them do archery and one of them rides horses. So, there is sports commitments there. We volunteer with our church. Like Gail said, we hold babies together. My husband and I also volunteer with a couple nonprofits. So we spend a lot of time doing those, which we love, but it's like an extra non-paid job on this side for both of them.
For sure.
So lots of work that we love doing. And then we are entrepreneurs. So David has his own business and I have a couple little side hustles that I do as well. All of these things keep us very busy. Can you guys relate to this busyness in one form or another? Can you relate to there's no margin, there's no time in the day. What we want to do is we want to talk a little bit about that margin and how important it is to have margin in your day. It's easy to get overwhelmed when there isn't enough in that schedule, when there's not enough space to just be. Everyone has different capacities, though. So
right.
That's important.
Right.
My capacity may be different than your capacity. Just because I may be busy or less busy than you doesn't mean that there's not enough margin, right? So
exactly.
That is super important to not compare yourself to other people and what they can handle and what they can do. The trigger that I have when I don't have enough margin is I start feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, and then I just kind of freeze. Like I was working on a project recently, and every time I sat down at my computer to do it, I just froze. I could not clear my brain enough to get the project done. So that was like red flag.
I absolutely know that feeling.
Yep.
Absolutely know. It's the ADHD overwhelm, procrastination, they say, but it's not actually procrastination. You're so overwhelmed that you literally can't move forward.
Yes.
Yeah. Until your brain can clear enough space to work through that problem.
So that's my trigger. Sounds like that's your trigger.
I definitely have that problem, but mine doesn't actually get to a point where I'm sitting down in front of the thing I'm supposed to do. I actually will do other things to totally avoid it.
Oh, okay, I've done that before too.
Entirely avoid the thing. And it's ridiculous. I'll do silly things that I should not be doing. And I know I shouldn't be doing them to avoid the thing I absolutely should be doing. And then I procrastinated so far that then I have to push myself really hard. And I'm like, why do we do myself that way?
And it just adds so much more stress to something that we could have avoided, right? We could have avoided that extra stress if we would have done the things beforehand to not feel overwhelmed, to have that margin in our day. It's so, so important. We have to remember that all these things that we do throughout our day, they're all good. They're all good things, right? Volunteering is good. Working is important, right? It's necessary in a lot of cases. These are good things, but sometimes if we say yes to so many of the good things, then we're not able to do our best with the things that are the most important. Let's talk a minute about what are some things that we can do to make sure we have that space, make sure we have that margin within our day. So I'm just going to list a few. Gail, you can chime in if you have comments or if you have other things in addition to my list. These are the things that I go to when I need that space. The first thing, the most important thing is be in the Word. So how long has it been? A year and a half ago, maybe? I created a section in my closet that I call my war room. If you've seen that movie, it's just a little fairy lights, and I painted a part on the wall, and I put up Bible verses, and it's just a space that I can go to just be in the Word and pray and clear my head of all the distractions. That's my go-to number one. Next is to make a checklist. Things that I can check off, get it all out of my brain, all the things that I have to do for all the different people and all the different groups. Make sure I have that list going so that I can get the things done and not have my brain tied down with all the thoughts.
She's good with that too, and she color codes her lists, which is my favorite.
I'm very into, yes, there's so many things. Everyone has their own colors.
Yes. Everyone in her calendar, all her people, her whole family has different colors in her calendar. And then all of her things, all her nonprofits and everything has a different color and all the things. Yeah. Because she has to know which one she's doing that day or that time or which list this is for. And
yes. Okay. And with that, I'm going to put a little plug here. Erasable pens are your friend. Yes. They're my favorite.
They're my favorite too.
Yes. Okay.
Well, that's only because Christina is a paper planner person.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about that really quick.
Yes.
You guys, when you're making a checklist or if you're a calendar person, people are not all paper and pen. Some people are digital. Her husband is digital and my husband is digital. I'm some of both. but
I'm all the paper.
She's all the paper.
I am not the techie person. This is why she does the editing. I am not the techie person.
Yes.
I don't need to be because I have my husband and I have Gail.
Right. So, she does things on the paper, but she likes to see it all on paper. She's been that way for a really long time. Mm-hmm. So she does everything in color coding. Mm-hmm. But I do everything in color coding too on just my digitally. Whiteboard. Yes. My whiteboard that we put all the digital, monthly calendar. We have a monthly calendar in our house that we put in what we call our office wall, where we keep all our business cards that we need for appointments, dental appointments that are coming up or whatever. And then our menu things next to it. And then the whiteboard, all of our appointments and everything are all color coordinated. Corey's therapy, Mackenzie's appointments, Landon's things, all the things. So they're all color coordinated on the wall. I'm pink, she's purple, he's blue, he's green. So
my favorite.
Yes, I totally understand. I'm not a paper and pen calendar. I love the happy planners. Those are my favorite thus far. Mm-hmm. My daughter gets me them from Michael's because that's where she works. Yeah, I do love them, but then I don't use them as much as I think I'm going to for me because I end up using my phone. Mm-hmm. So I do both. But yes, Christina.
Yeah, I'm all about paper. All about paper. I have been, like you said, for as long as I can remember. It's just who I am. Mm-hmm. Not that I have not tried to do the digital stuff. It's just not my...
It's not your cup of tea.
It's not my cup of tea, for sure. Okay, a couple more things I have on my list is prioritizing the family. Mm-hmm. Sometimes all the busyness and all the stress goes away if I just, you know what, I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to play a game with the kids. Mm-hmm. Or we're going to go do a family outing or whatever it is. Just kind of getting back to these people that I brought into this world, they are the reason I'm doing all of these things. Right. And so if I'm not prioritizing them over everybody else, then why am I doing it?
Right.
So
that's the point of what we do.
Exactly.
Homeschooling, making it flexible,
Yeah.
Making it super flexible. So that's the point. Well, and it helps center you.
Yeah.
When you're feeling super stressed out, getting back to your kids or your husband, I totally get that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Prioritizing the family. Absolutely. Ask for help. Your tribe is here for you. The people that are the closest to you are there for a reason. We don't always pick our family members, but we do pick our friends and we pick them for a reason. That is your tribe. Ask for help.
So Christina is not great at this.
I'm not.
But she is learning.
Trying.
She has worked really, really hard, especially in the last several years, to ask for help.
Yeah.
She has not always been great at this.
No, and I still struggle. It's hard. It is not easy to ask for help. And I don't know why it shouldn't be hard.
No.
These are your people, your tribe, that, people I would...
Well, it's funny because, I wasn't a homeschooler until this last year. And this last year was the first time I ever helped with this big event that she does every year, right? I go, why didn't you ever ask me to help you with this before? I used to do weddings and big events years and years and years ago. And, I was a coordinator. And she goes, well, you weren't invested in homeschooling. So I go, but I was invested in you. I would have helped. Had you asked me. And so it's just, and honestly, I didn't even think to offer because I had no idea. In my head, I had no idea how big this event was that she was putting on. No clue. And then when I saw it this year, I was like, holy cannolis. You do this every year?
You know what? And it goes back to all the things we do are good, right? This is an event this is a homeschool graduation. This is an event that is near and dear to my heart because the first time I went, I had that vision of, we're going to be there someday. I want this experience for my kids. And so I had volunteered for years and just kind of worked my way up to running it. And, it's one of those things that is so special to me. It's my favorite day of the year. I love it. I absolutely love it, but it is a lot of work. And I certainly did not learn to ask for help soon enough. Yeah. So I'm working on that. I'm getting better.
She is getting better, for
but
sure.
But it is hard. It is hard. So if you are like me and you don't ask for help, learn from me. Ask for help.
Hear our heart. It is okay to ask for help, guys.
That's what we're here for. We're not meant to do this alone.
Right.
Any of it, right? We need help with all kinds of things.
Right. That's why God had Adam here alone and he created Eve. Like, he created a helper.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, it was those two alone for a while. And then they created their family and they were helpers. And then we get to pick our friends and family sometimes. Like, Christina is my family, right? Like, I will always be there for her, even though we're not blood related in any way, shape, or form. Yep. I'm just saying, ask for help, guys.
Ask for help. Okay. So the last one I have is a little bit tricky because there is a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, but it is okay to cancel. I know that's hard sometimes, but sometimes we think we can do more than we actually can. And when we sit down and we look at that calendar and we're feeling overwhelmed and we need to prioritize our family over everyone else, it is okay to cancel.
It is. It is. There's a difference between calling 3, 5, 6, 7, 2 weeks in advance and canceling and flaking, though. So be aware of your mental health. Be aware of your schedule. Make sure you're sitting down and doing these calendar meetings or, looking at the week ahead and, forthright with your time and understanding that, hey, you know what? I put all of this on my calendar before I realized I had all of this on my calendar. And, if you need to take things off of your calendar, that's okay. It's okay to say no.
It is.
It is totally okay to say no.
It is.
But make sure you call and make the right arrangements.
Right. Absolutely. And try to see those things ahead of time. Like we were just talking about graduation. Leading up to graduation, I know how busy it is, right? So I know now, after doing it a while, like, okay, I need to make sure that weekend I am not volunteering at church because I'm going to be exhausted, right? Or the week before, we're not going to go do the sports that the kids do. We're going to take that week off because I need that extra prep time. So just kind of trying to think of those things ahead of time is helpful for the people that it affects. Right.
Especially in a season that you're going to be like extra busy if you have extra things that are going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yes. But remind yourself, it is okay to cancel because that's something that's been hard for me too is, I don't want to let anyone down.
Right.
I don't want to miss out on something. Fear of missing out is a real
FOMO
thing,
is for real, guys.
But it is okay to cancel. It is okay to prioritize your family over things and events.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So those are just some of the ideas that I have. Do you have any that I missed?
I think those are perfect. When Landon and I, we usually do our Bible reading together in the morning. We do a Bible study that we pick together and then we read it in the morning before he goes to work or on his days off or whatever. So I do that typically with him. And then I do like my YouVersion Bible verse of the day, like 5 minutes in the evening when he's already gone. That's my favorite time of the day kind of thing. It's just very quiet. I get to be still for a few minutes. I get a pop-up on my phone as a reminder. So whatever I'm doing, I just kind of stop what I'm doing and do that. But yeah, that's definitely been a game changer. And it definitely helps me start out my day a little bit nicer. It puts me in a little bit better of a mood. And it really helps me tackle my day. But yeah, if I know that I'm going to have a super busy week, I try and make a list ahead of time because that is the part that keeps me on track.
So your number one piece of advice would be
to be in the Word. Yeah. Because if you're not, I think that you're not really centered. I mean, that's going to set every single day on the right track.
There's such a difference in my day when I will be honest. I wake up in the morning and all the things start popping up. I've got to get to kids' breakfast. I've got to go here. I've got to go there. I've got to do all the things. So I tend to not there's always a thing I have to do. So I don't always do my reading in the morning. But it makes such a difference on the days that I do it then versus the days that I do it later in the day or before bed. Well, such a difference.
The nice thing about Landon for me is that he knows that I don't like to read. Like, I don't love to read. I like to listen. I like audiobooks and things like that. And so he reads it to me while I make him breakfast every morning. So like he'll sit at the island and read me. So we only get one Bible study book, and he writes down both of our answers in the same book because I don't have time for that. Like, I do get up and do all the things, but while I'm sitting there frying the eggs and getting the bacon going and stuff, while I'm doing the things, he sits at the island and reads it to me so that I can audibly process it, because that's how I learn.
Okay, we all want to be Gail and Landon right now, don't we?
But that just started this last year. You know, when we did a Bible study with actually around December of last year, with our small group, we started this Bible study called Rooted, and it was amazing. And that was the first like big Bible study we ever did together. And it kind of transformed our mornings. And I was like, okay, can we do another one? Hey, can we do another one? And that's when he started reading to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Can you just do this forever and ever? And we've been married for almost 20 years. So that's awesome. This is very new, but all the things that you can still kind of learn about each other after being married for 19 years. Yeah. Yeah. That's really amazing. It's really changed our day.
That's amazing.
For sure.
That's amazing. Well, my go-to answer isn't as amazing as that one. Like, I don't think I can go after that answer.
Yes, you can. What's your answer?
Okay. So my husband and I, we do a calendar planning meeting is what we call it. So he is the digital guy. I'm the paper guy. We make sure that we both have access to both so that we don't overbook ourselves or double book ourselves, which does happen occasionally, but not often, because we are able to just sit down and we look ahead at the next few weeks. And make sure that we both know who needs to be where and when, and that everything is on both the digital calendar and the paper calendar. Because I'm going to go to the paper calendar and look, and he's going to go to the digital calendar and look.
You guys got to have the same information.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially right now, we only have one car. So that makes it even more. Yeah. We have to know who's going to be where. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So that is definitely my biggest takeaway, is making sure that you guys are on the same page so that you guys can flow. And it also is kind of an accountability, because as we're putting things in these calendars, he can look and say, honey, it's really busy. Wow, that's a busy week or whatever. And I can do the same for him. So we can kind of help keep each other balanced.
Right. And it might be one of those things like, hey, you need to cancel something.
Right. And so you're looking ahead and you can figure that out. And
do you think there's something we maybe need to not do this week? You know, are we going to be so exhausted? Or the kids going to be so exhausted? You know, especially when you have like, so I have a special needs kiddo, and sometimes when his week is overly booked, he gets so overwhelmed and he can't do all the things because his he's overtouched. He's done. He's overstimulated. Or the sounds around him is just too much and he's overstimulated. Or he's done too many things that week and he's like, can I have a day where we just don't do anything?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we can. Now, his day where we just don't do anything is him still running around the house like a maniac because he doesn't sit still. But it's him alone in his own house and he's safe here.
He has his
no one
margin.
Else is here. Yeah. No one else is here to touch his things. You know, and that he struggles when people are here to touch his things.
Yep.
But see, I mean, you have to keep that in mind too. If you have other kiddos in your house, that it's not just about you and your husband's schedule. It's about what your kids' needs are too.
Yeah. It's about everybody and what works well for your family.
Right.
Because again, everyone's capacity is different. The kids, the husbands, ours.
Right.
So what works well for your family? Absolutely. Yeah. So those are just hopefully helpful tips and reminders of why it's important to keep margin in your days and your weeks, and some ways to kind of protect those margins.
And why balancing all of the things is important, and the good things are still good. Making sure that you keep, God and your family at the top of your priority list when everything else feels a little bit muddled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you have the right balance of margin in your day, those things that we do that are all good can become great.
Right.
They become better because we are more focused on what's important. We are more rested, less stressed.
Yeah.
It just kind of all helps us do those things better.
Right. I agree. All right, guys. Well, if you found value in today's podcast, I thought it was phenomenal. Make sure that you're checking out our Instagram and our Facebook and our TikTok. We're going to be sharing some things that we use. A couple days before this episode, we'll post some things, and a couple days after, we'll be posting some resources and things that we like to use, some helpful tips and things like that on how to stay balanced, and some resources for scheduling and things like that. So make sure that you are plugged in to all the things. Like and subscribe to wherever you're listening to your podcast. Make sure you give us a review so that you get all of the notifications for when we post a new episode, which will be every Wednesday. So make sure you are paying attention. We are everywhere for you guys every week. We are here for you. So we're so excited to be here for you guys every week now that we have launched. I don't know if you know this because this won't be for another, I don't even know. When will this be posted? Are we going to do this one next week? I think we're going to do this next week. So today is actual launch day. So today was our first episode launch. So make sure you do all the subscription stuff, and make sure you go to our Facebook and Instagram and like those and let us know where you found us. And we are so excited to see you in our community. And Miss Christina is going to close us out in prayer today.
Okay, guys. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for these wonderful, busy lives that you've given us. Thank you that we get to be moms, and we get to be wives, and we get to be providers for our family, and homeschool mamas, and all the things. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but you are here with us, and we thank you for all of the many blessings. Help us to keep margin within our schedule so that we can be our best to those that love us the most. It is in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Hey, bestie.